that you speak. And that's why the dua is so important. You should do. Allahumma ya musabbir al-din musabbir ala. Oh my Lord, you are the controller of our hearts. You the one who keep our hearts steadfast. Oh my Lord, sabbir ala qalbi, keep our hearts straight. Now, being steadfast in deen and being tested in deen is nothing new. Allah Almighty has tested many before. And there's many ayats about this. Allah Almighty states, and this is the background of this ayat is that the Prophet ﷺ companions were tested again and again and again. And some were asking the Prophet Allah Almighty that why is this happening? And the Prophet ﷺ mentioned to them ayatul Qur'an that he revealed to him. In Surah Al-Kabut, the very first ayat, he says, أَحَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. Do those people do not think that they will be left alone when they say aiyatul amana, that we believe, wahum la yuftanun, and they will not be tested? So it is part of faith that Allah Almighty tests us. Wherever we go through life, Allah Almighty tests us. And this is another hadith and hadith of Bukhari, that Allah Almighty has given a certain level, a certain status to a person. When that person tries to get to that level through acts of worship and through his devotion, he may get to that place or not. But if he cannot, then Allah Almighty, to make him get to that level, Allah Almighty gives him, tests him through difficulties, through hardships, even to the extent that he may send a thorn that will prick his foot. And if he does suffer upon that, Allah Almighty will give a reward for that even. So Allah Almighty even will give a reward for that. That if you were walking along the street and a thorn, a sharp object pricked your foot and it hurt you, and you remembered Allah Almighty, Allah Almighty will also give you reward for that. And if you are tested by Allah Almighty and you are steadfast and you go through all the difficulties that Allah Almighty gives you in life, then according to hadith, Allah Almighty will raise you in degrees. Yes, it is hard, and sometimes we do question, why is Allah Almighty do this? But this is Allah Almighty's way, His hidden mercy, His hidden divine mercy to show that He wants to make us better. Because Allah Almighty tested the prophets before us. There are many stories about this. One that comes to my mind is the story of the Ashab al-Ukhdud. In Surah Al-Buruj, it mentions about the people of the ditch. There was a king, Zu Nawas, and he wanted everyone not only to accept his rule, but also worship him as God. Ma'azallah. And he made everyone in the land accept him. It's quite a long story. The Prophet mentioned, according to it's the same Muslim, the story. I'll try to keep it towards brevity so that you understand this. Everyone tried to believe in him, and to make sure that he had a strong, firm hold on people and on their hearts and mind, he tried to brainwash them. He tried to scare them. And this is why we have this fear. And this is in this society today, where a certain aspect of fear comes by the way we are interacting with social media, the way the TVs try to act upon us, the way we look at the social media, the way we see things around us. They have an influence on us, called peer pressure. In the same way, he had a magician in his court who would go into the lands and tell the people and do tricks and illusions to say that if you do not listen to them, this will happen to you. And many who did not listen, they were punished for that. Now this magician was getting old, and once he was getting old, to cut it short, he needed someone to replace him. And so he chose a lad, a child in the lands who lived in a remote village. And then this child used to go on the way to him. Now this child himself had an incredible journey that he himself wanted to know. Because he was innocent, he was young, he started learning his magic powers, which were all false and evil. But along the way, when he went one day, he came across a religious scholar and a saint who was sitting in a cave, and he was reading the old scriptures. And he read them, the verses of the words of Allah Almighty. And he was impressed. So now his routine became, he started to learn the magic power in the king, and he's come back and he should learn this. And he learned both things. But he was not sure what was the right path for him. Is the path the magician is telling him the right path, or the path, the words of Allah Almighty, or the right path? So what does he do? He is then tested. The first test comes along is that he was going along the road and suddenly he sees a big commotion. That people are gathered and he asks what's happening. He said, the road is blocked in front. There is a beast who is blocking the road in front. We can't get past. We don't know what to do. It's such a big beast, it's stopping us. We are fearful of it. At that time, he has he has a quick enlightenment from Allah Almighty that this is my time now to understand whether my mighty powers will work or whether the words of Allah Almighty will work and I can get rid of this beast. So what does he do? First, he's inclined towards what the scholar says to him. He reads 2 rakat cycles of prayer and he prays to Allah Almighty, oh Allah Almighty, if your words are true, at this instance, make the beast disappear. If not, then I will know that your words are not true. As soon as he makes that dua, straight away the beast in front of everyone, he dies on the spot. He falls off the cliff. And then he realizes this is the right path. And then he starts on his path to struggle and devotion towards Islam. And the first thing he does is, he goes back home and he starts to propagate Islam on behalf of this. He tells the priest, and the priest says to him, whatever happens, do not disclose of the knowledge I've told you. This is a knowledge between you and me, I trust it. And only let them people come towards Islam by condition they accept faith. And then people from far and wide come to him with all sorts of aims and illnesses to get better, and they start accepting Islam. And then word gets to the court, and there is a minister in the court who is blind. He comes to this young boy and he says that I'll be blind all my life, and thus I'll be impressed by my king and the magician, and no one has cured my illness. But I want to see whether your power works upon me. I'm interested. Again, he says, I will present you the faith that you need to believe in. He presents him the words, he listens, he accepts that, and then he just touches his eyes and becomes restored. Then he comes back into the court. And the next day, there was a tradition of whenever all the court ministers, the missionaries, the officials to come, they used to bow down to the king. They used to fall down in prostration. Out of respect that he's not just king, he is our, ma'azallah, may Allah forbid, he is our God. We worship him. Now this minister doesn't do that. He asked him, why do you not do that? He said, I only worship Allah Almighty. And then he becomes angry. Who is this Allah Almighty you worship? Where does this word come from? And then he's beaten up and he's in prison. Until he's forced to speak about the young child. And then the young child is brought forward. And then he is beaten up and he's imprisoned until he is forced to tell about the religious scholar. And then the religious scholar is called, and then the king has orders that the scholar is executed. And he says, look how much people these people tested at that time. In front of everyone, the scholar, he was sawn in half. May Allah Almighty give him the highest level of martyrdom. This is the high level of martyrdom he had. And then this young boy, the authorities say, arrest him and take him out to the further land as far as possible. And it's one young boy, look how scared the king is. It's one young boy, and the whole army takes him to the furthest lands and throw him off the cliff. But when he goes to the furthest of lands, he's about to be thrown off the cliff. He says, oh Allah, save me. When he says the word, oh Allah, save me, a hurricane comes, a storm comes, and it blows all the people away. They fall off the cliff, and he comes back in a full body and shape in front of the king. And the king says, how could this be? Then he orders a new batch of army to go and take him out into the middle of the sea and throw him off the plank and make him drown. They do this again and again. He does dua to Allah Almighty, Allah, save me. And then a storm comes in the middle of the waters and they drown everyone, and then everyone sees he walks across the water and comes back to the king. And the king then says, is there any possible way that I can kill that child? Then the child says, the only way you can do this is you have to mention the name of Allah Almighty. And then the next day, he ties him and he mentions the word of Allah Almighty, he throws the spear. And he says to everyone else, have faith, Allah is testing. And all the believers were believers, but now majority of the land are believers. And they see this, and he throws the arrow, and the boy is killed with this arrow because the king has read the word of Allah. He read Bismillah. And then there's an uproar, and everyone starts to go against the king. And then the king orders a big dish. That's why the story is known as Ashab dish. A big dish to be put in. A big dish is made, And in that ditch, he says, everyone is thrown into the fire. And then it says in the story, the Prophet mentions in Sahih Muslim, that one woman is about to be thrown into the ditch when the young child speaks out. It says, my dear Mubarak, are you worried about dying for the sake of Allah Almighty? We are upon the truth. And then she herself jumps in. And then Allah Almighty then sends his punishment down. As the fire, these people are looking the king and the soldiers, they're laughing, and look what we've done. Allah Almighty increases the fire and destroys the king. From the story, and there's many other stories about how the prophets and companions were tested for Allah Almighty. Now we will be tested, but not at that level. Whoever we are tested from, we must stay steadfast. We must stay put. As the Quran says, وَصَبِّتْ أَقْدَامْنَا, your feet should stay firm. That's how the Quran has described it. So it's very important that whatever comes in your life, if difficulties come in your life, inshallah, Allah Almighty will not keep that difficult all the time. Allah Almighty also says in Surah Nashra, فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّ مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا. That the Prophet ﷺ was told that through hardship, definitely through hardship comes ease. And this is repeated twice. No doubt, after every hardship comes ease. So inshallah, whenever you go through hard times, they are actually not your hard times. Imagine that you have a sculpture. The sculpture is being molded and is cut away, and the person who's cutting away the moldage, obviously it's hard to cut all the way to pieces, and then when the sculpture is made properly, it's beautiful form. In the same way, Allah Almighty is when He's testing you, He's trying to mold you. He's trying to make you the best out of you, to learn from your mistakes. And if you learn from your mistakes, when you get molded the way Allah Almighty makes you, then you will become a better person. May Allah Almighty give us tawfiq to act upon this. May Allah Almighty give us the ability to be steadfast on our deen.
Comment, like, subscribe and share.